This is a download from Rutland Radio.
Hello, and thank you for downloading the Rutland Radio podcast from rutlandradio.co.uk. This is where you can hear the best bits from the last week.
So it's Oliver Laverack, and I'm the founder of the business. We officially started trading probably 4 or 5 months ago now, but really the product has been in a sort of prototype form for perhaps a year or two. So been working on it for a lot longer than that.
So has this all come from your own love of cycling?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. This particular bike, the first bike that we've brought out, is really a product of my personal passion for the classics races over in Belgium. So, Paris-Roubaix, Tour of Flanders, and so that's really what's driven it. And also disc brakes are becoming a real thing at the moment in road cycling. So it combines those two things.
And of course the Oakham to Melton, which is our version of the Roubaix.
Absolutely,
as well,
yeah.
which comes straight past here virtually.
Exactly, yeah, and it's pretty much the nearest thing we've got to Paris-Roubaix. So we're certainly planning to get involved with that and hopefully actually ride it as well.
So how long does it take to develop a bike like this?
Well, it's really a case of getting a prototype and then testing it and making it sure that everything performs how you want to, and then technically that the product does what you want it to do. So I've worked in cycling quite a long time, so I had a lot of theories on frame geometries. But yeah, this is probably, I'd say, perhaps a year or two's work to get something that you're really happy with.
For something like this, you presumably need something that's fairly light, fairly tough, and kind of will reliably do the job.
Yes, yeah, very much, and I think titanium fits the bill for that really well because it's such a tough frame material, particularly when you compare it to carbon fibre frames, which if in an accident they can break. So it's a really robust, and it just looks fantastic, especially in the polished form that we've got it in at the moment. So yeah, it's super durable and very reliable, and yes, yeah.
So some of the top cyclists are actually, looking at your kind of product, aren't they?
Well, the top cyclists all use carbon fibre, and that's predominantly so they can get the race weight down to the limits that they require. But there's no reason you couldn't use titanium, and I think that's something we'd like to explore in future, actually.
So you see yourself very much as a pioneer with that, then?
Well, hopefully going forwards, that's certainly something. I've got plenty of ideas in that area, so it's certainly something I'd like to explore.
What was it like the first time actually you took the finished product out on the road?
Very exciting, and it performed even better than I'd anticipated. So that was a kind of a relief, really, because you don't really know until you ride it, of course.
And this was grown and developed in Rutland, a county that definitely loves cycling.
Yeah, absolutely. We're actually based over in Tickencote, which is part of Rutland, as I'm sure people in Rutland know. It just seems like the perfect place for it, particularly given the heritage of cycling here.
And how much do these bikes retail for?
A good point. The price starts at £3,000, and that's for what's a 105 bike, effectively. But you can spend as much as you like. So our range tops out at about 6,000, but there's no reason you couldn't go much higher than that if you got into custom painting and even more expensive carbon wheels and that kind of thing.
So who is the entry-level bike aimed at?
Well, the frame is actually the same across the board, so it's really good if you're buying at the entry-level point. You'll get the same frame that the person spending £6,000. But it's very much aimed at I would say somebody that's really into cycling, loves the quality of craftsmanship that you can get from a product like this. And somebody that appreciates the classics and Paris-Roubaix and riding, perhaps is looking for a cafe racer rather than a thoroughbred race bike.
And about how many do you think you'll be producing, say, in a year? What are you looking to do?
Volumes are probably likely to be relatively low, probably between 50 and 100. But obviously that depends on how sales go. So we'll have to wait and see.
Ollie, very best of luck with what you developed here. It feels fantastic to us as novices, but thank you.
Thank you. Thanks very much.
This is Rutland Radio.
My name's Michael. I'm from Oakham.
Okay, Michael, tell us your story then about being in a film.
I was a schoolboy in North Wales in the 50s, and there was a film called The Card, starring Alec Guinness and Petula Clark, and part of it was made in Llandudno. And I was an extra for a week or so in the film. We turned up every day in the morning, very early. I think we got a fiver a day and all we could eat, which was brilliant for a school kid.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we had to dress up. It was actually set in the 30s, the film. It was black and white. I've actually got a copy of it at home. You turned up in the morning, joined the queue, and I had an adopted mother for the scenes and things like that, where you walked up and down the promenade. The weather was beautiful and we were being paid. So very, very nice.
And Sir Alec Guinness as well, starring in it.
Alec Guinness, Petula Clark, Glynis John was in it as well. We met them all, obviously. They were very nice people, and But as a school kid, in the summer in North Wales, sun is shining, and it was really nice, really nice.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
It's Rutland Radio at breakfast time. The thing about Stamford and Rutland is panto season doesn't just be confined to the festive season, because Cottesmore always do theirs around late January. The Cottesmore Village Players presenting Snow White this time round, and director Alison Hornby joins me this time. Good to see you here at Rutland Radio. How has it been then? How long have you been rehearsing for?
We've been rehearsing since September. Yeah, really good fun. Lots of laughs. We're getting down to the nitty-gritty now. A few days to go.
Now, we've had some snow. Just imagine what that would be like. Apart from, obviously, we don't want to cut Market Overton off, do we? But you know what I mean?
Yeah,
amazing.
Totally. Yeah, that'd be lovely. We'll have some snow for Snow White.
So what does the set look like then?
We've got a lovely forest scene. We've got the dwarf's house scene, cottage, and the beautiful palace, ballroom.
I guess it's one of these pantos that lends itself to a wide variety of ages being cast as well.
Absolutely. We've got our youngsters coming up into lead roles now, and they're doing amazing. We've got some little children in it, which is great fun. Then our adults as well. So, yeah, good age range.
Any names to look out for that people often see at Cottesmore?
Absolutely. We've got Alan Lane. He's doing a great role as the Dame. We've got a brand new member of CVP's, Caitlin. She's taken on quite a big role this year. Ian Taylor, he's been with us forever. So, yeah, lots of people.
And how many performances are you doing this year?
We're doing more than we usually do this year. We're doing the 29th, 30th and 31st of January. On the Saturday, we have the matinee at 2:30. And then the following weekend, Saturday the 6th, we're doing a 2:30, 7:30 performance, and the Sunday a 2:30 performance.
Right, so you're doing 2 weekends this time.
We are, trying something a little bit different.
I guess that's because you do so well, really, to spread it out a bit.
That's right, yeah. The matinees always fill up very quickly, so we thought we'd add some more.
Snow White. What about the Seven Dwarfs side of it?
The Seven Dwarfs side of it, I've done it a little bit differently. We've got children playing the dwarfs this year, and they're doing a great job. A few little surprises along the way, as CVPs always do.
And where do people get tickets from for this?
Tickets are available from Alan and Lynn Lane at the Old Post Office, Market Overton. Their telephone number is 01572 768 040.
That's 768040, and that's literally, if you find the shop, just kind of go back down the street a little bit. Like
Absolutely, yeah.
1 or 2 doors.
Absolutely, yeah. Just knock on the door and Lynn will help you out.
That's Market Overton Village Hall. Cottesmore Village Players this year presenting Snow White at the end of the month, which is only a few days away now, so please do get tickets. And director Alison Hornby, thanks very much for joining us on Rutland Radio this morning.
Thank you very much, Rob.
Rutland Radio's best bits on the podcast.
Aidan.
Lucy.
Jordan.
Matthew.
So what do you normally have for breakfast?
I don't know, slice of toast or something. Cereal.
I normally have at school like a croissant or the porridge that's being sold.
The porridge.
I normally have Weetabix.
Now, porridge seems to be really popular generally when we've been asking people, but tell us about what you're doing here at Casterton.
Well, porridge is being handed out for free, and then once you've had that for 3 times, you get a Casterton bottle, which is quite cool.
So, do lots of people kind of arrive here to take breakfast in the morning?
Yeah, quite a lot, because some people don't get the chance to have breakfast at home, so it's quite good that they're doing this at school.
So does that mean that the canteen's normally open?
Yeah, all like lunchtime, break time and morning as well.
So have you had the porridge here yet?
Yeah, I've had it for the first 2 days and it's nice. Yeah.
Is it the drinks bottle a big enough incentive to have it again?
Yeah.
Tell us, as far as porridge, what it kind of does for you. Is it a good thing to have at breakfast, would you say?
I mean, it's good for you, and it fills you up for the rest of the day, so you don't feel tempted to have other things throughout the day.
Highlights from the past 7 days, the Rutland Radio podcast.
It's Rutland Radio, breakfast time. I'm Rob Pisani. Now, I'm sure you know the Rutland Lions and some of the things that they do, well, they're looking to publicise a satellite group, an informal group that meets for social evenings, that maybe could do some fundraising and some good for the community. From that group is Lion Julie Rutland. Thank you very much for joining us today. Why did you decide to set up a group that's kind of, away from the Lions but supported by it?
Hi, Rob. Well, thank you for having the Rutland Lions on Rutland Radio. So this would be an ad hoc social group who would meet once a month. They would still be under the auspices of the proper Lions Club, but I want to stress that there's no strings attached, so no fees, no membership. It's just an informal get-together, really, and we're hoping to do that in the beginning of February.
So this is going to be the 10th of February, your first meeting. Whereabouts will that be?
That would be in the Green Room in the Lord Nelson, Wednesday 10th of February from 7:30 onwards. So anyone who's interested in the Lions can also be the current members of our Lions Club. We've got a list of about 15 supporters who sometimes help, for instance, with the Santa sleigh. So please, if you're out there, do come along on the 10th of February and just brainstorm a session. So the main aim of this group, this ad hoc group, would be project planning, probably short-term and also general fundraising.
So what sort of things have the Lions got up to? Because obviously, it is a year-round calendar actually for the Lions itself, and I guess, your group supports that.
Absolutely, yes. Well, our past president, Alan Gray, his motto was, and still is, look back with pride, but also look forward with ambition. And our current president, Mike Cropper, is really supporting this. He's a really jolly chap, and he will surely bring us forth into the 21st century, but still adhering to the traditions of the Lions Club. Well, the past achievements of the Lions. Last June, we saw a charter gala dinner in the Victoria Hall with 140 people celebrating 40 years of community service to Rutland, which was absolutely great fun, really lovely. And when I was there, I thought, gosh, this is not an old men's club. There were lots of sketches. There was an absolutely wonderful atmosphere. And I must say, the twice monthly meetings we have with the proper Lions Club are always lovely. We have speakers. There's a lot of banter going on. And of course, the Lions have embraced women now, so women can come along and become a member of the Lions Club. We currently have 4 lady members and hopefully a 5th in the pipeline. And I must say the Lions Club, the men have really embraced us ladies, and it's great fun. The Lions, of course, are most famous for the Santa sleigh. That's the biggest event. The fireworks, also we have a stand in the Rutland County Show every year. So what we've achieved last year, 25 donations totaling £10,000, mostly local but also national and international causes. So, just to name but a few, £9,000 went to Rutland Sailability, Riding for the Disabled, Young Carers in Rutland, Oakham Rugby Club for Girls, and of course 250 goodie Christmas bags for those in need. And outside Rutland, we managed to donate to the Nepal Earthquake Appeal, most recently also to the York and Cumbrian Flood Appeal. So it's quite a wide range of donations and community services we do.
So just to recap this informal group meeting at the Lord Nelson in Oakham, it'll be Wednesday the 10th of February from 7:30. You can basically find out how you can get involved in those sort of things. If you don't want to get too involved, then that's fine as well.
Yeah. And the contact details are, you can ring the secretary, Charles Robert Shaw, who's an absolutely efficient secretary, and his number is 0845 833 4319. Alternatively, you can email rutlandlions@talktalk.net, or of course, there is our modern Facebook page, Rutland Lions. So just click on the Facebook page, and of course on the main Lions website.
All sounds great, doesn't it? 40 years of the Lions helping Rutland and helping different parts of the world as well. And if you'd like to get involved, then there's an evening on Wednesday, 10th of February at the Lord Nelson in Oakham. And Julie Rutland, thank you very much for joining us on Rutland Radio today.
Thank you for having us.
This is Rutland Radio.
First of all, Mandy, thank you very much for being part of the Len Pick annual evening.
That's my pleasure.
This is obviously a big aviation area with Cottesmore, with Wittering. There's a lot of military and ex-military personnel, so a lot of interest, obviously, in a story that you could tell.
Yeah, I hope so. Having served myself at Cranwell, just near Sleaford, obviously, and Marham and Kings Lynn, yeah, I've spent a lot of my RAF career around these parts. So, yes, I'm very familiar, let's just say, with the landscape, but normally from the bird's eye perspective.
How many female fighter pilots were there around the time you were there?
Not very many. So I was the second female to fly the Tornado GL4 on the front line after Jo Salter, who was the first sort of trailblazer for us. And then a few others followed in her lead. I think during my time in, I was the only woman on the pilot side of things on my squadron. I did have a female navigator that turned up in my final years, which was nice to have a bit of a camaraderie from a female perspective. But I think we're still less than something like 10 women who've served on the GL4 from the piloting side of things on the front line, even till now.
We think a lot about the Eurofighter now, but the Tornado obviously still in service.
Without a doubt. I mean, Tornado has been an incredible platform. It is an old platform, but actually with the technology it's got on board, it still absolutely does the job. With the likes of Brimstone and Storm Shadow, it brings it right up to date. And when you're flying with modern technology like that, the platform, I wouldn't say is irrelevant, of course it's not, but it really brings it into this century without a doubt.
And 3 tours of Iraq, what were your day-to-day challenges on that?
A lot of our trips actually took place at night, so it was more like the nighttime challenges. I think on that, it was a very strange period because in the time period that I was out there was between the 2 Gulf Wars. So we were seeing a huge build-up in the armed forces, the ground activity as well in the build-up to Gulf War II. And we were often getting highlighted by missiles and we were shot at on a daily basis by the guns, but at the same time very much keeping a presence in the air. So it was challenging, but also very much realising that although we were creating a presence, we were aware that we had certain levels of priority over some of our targeting and collateral damage was of high concern. So we would not risk any collateral damage at the time.
What do you feel now on the outside looking in?
It was interesting because I was asked a lot in the run-up to the decision over whether we were going to Syria, would I speak up on television and radio? And I kept saying, well, I'm not that current. But I did turn on the television to see a 90-year-old gentleman being interviewed, so I thought perhaps a little bit more current than that. But I think for me, their real challenges are the lack of troops on the ground. And for us, we were very clear who the enemy was and who was on our side, and that makes it a lot more simple. For them, actually, without having the eyes on the ground and it being a very confusing picture, we will probably see a lot more civilian casualties, and I think that's going to be one of the problems that we see coming out of this conflict.
Mandy, thank you very much for joining us here at Imborne. Is this your first time in town?
It is actually. It's lovely because I've actually flown over here quite a few times, so it's really nice to be here. And it was lovely to join the school earlier on today as well. And I'll be honest, it was an absolute pleasure speaking to the pupils, and they had some fantastic questions. So no, it's been a wonderful day all round.
The weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
It's 8:20. Our celebrations here in just a second, and I've got some news of my own to share with you. You know, we've known each other in some cases for over 17 years. I've been here, a voice in the morning in your life. You've shared your life with me in so many cases, and I'd like to share a little bit of mine with you. Sometimes you reach a stage in your life where it's never going to be the same again, and that's happened to me. So we've known each other for, 17 years or so here at Rutland Radio as I've been doing this show. And I wanted you to be among the first to know. I've asked my beautiful girlfriend, Rachel, to marry me. Thanks to everyone who's sent me messages. It's really lovely. Yes, I'm getting married, if you've just tuned in. And I'm really quite emotional. All the people, actually, who have said something this morning, it really means the world. Thank you so much. Deep breath, pull myself together here. Thank you so much for sending messages this morning from family and friends and listeners who have been with me, you know, shared our life in some way. Thank you. Now,
the weekly Rutland Radio podcast.
So you probably heard Question Time came to Stamford, to the boys' school last night. I'm here with David Dimbleby. And what an enduring popularity that this show has for something that's on at the time it's on, really.
I know, we get 3 million people listening and watching, and 11:15 is late. I mean, a lot of people, I think, now watch on iPlayer or they find ways of watching it later. But it is very gratifying, not just that the audience is as big as that, for a political programme, and the only political programme on the air which gives the public, the voter, a chance to cross-examine the questioners. But the other thing that I find so rewarding is that going around the streets, the number of young people who watch it and who come up and say thank you for it because they like the idea of politicians being put on the spot. So in that way, it's an exciting programme to do. And of course, it's different everywhere you are. I mean, we're in Bradford next week. Tonight we're in Stamford. You know, week after that we're somewhere else. We're moving around all the time. And everywhere we go, you get a different feel for the audiences. I mean, Stamford, about, for instance, trains in Lincolnshire, how you can't get from here to Lincoln by train and so on. You get the feel of people really passionate about something that matters, and that carries right across the UK. People hear that and they think, yeah, that's what happens down in my neck of the woods or whatever. And then you get the big topics, of course, like Google's tax. Everybody vents their anger about that. So all in all, it's both kind of exciting to do, but also I think it's a sort of permanent feature of British politics now. I mean, I think long after I've given up doing it, it will still be there in the schedules, and the audiences will still be coming, and the new politicians will still be cross-examined.
What I think is so wonderful about you and your brother and what you do is that your dad started all this.
Well, he was a broadcaster. It's rather like saying my father was a surgeon and my brother's a doctor and I'm a doctor or whatever.
Yes,
I mean, I think
but that kind of, you know,
we don't think of ourselves
and
yes.
showing the world,
well,
you know,
that's very nice
something that they can't get to.
It's nice of you to put it like that, but I don't think we think of ourselves as a kind of dynastic business. It's just quite by chance. When I was a child, I watched my father broadcasting. He obviously enjoyed it. I began doing it when I was 11. I did my first radio broadcast, Family Favourites, when I was 11. Can you imagine? And if you enjoy it, like showing off, you know, you do it.
And how was the audience in Stamford?
It was excellent, very good, very lively. They were funny, they were amused by stuff that went on. They were great, they were terrific.
And quite a lot of competition for tickets. I know people who would love to have been in there tonight.
We always have that. We usually have 500-600 people, and we take 150. Which is good for us because we have to balance the audience politically. We ask them what sex they are, how they voted, what age they are, and we make an audience that is as well balanced as it can be, so that when we have 400 or 500 people, it helps, obviously. But no, a lot of people are disappointed. I refuse bribes frequently to give them seats.
And I didn't even need to actually bribe you to talk to us at Rutland Radio.
Well, thank you very much. Thanks for talking to me.
Well, that's it for this week's Rutland Radio podcast. If you have any comments, you can email us via the website, rutlandradio.co.uk, and we'll have a new version on our website from Monday.
This is a download from Rutland Radio. For more information, go to rutlandradio.co.uk.